And now, another Rock Sports Network presentation.
Good evening. It's overtime. I'm Dan Borrello. This is Icey Vick from the Huddle Show. Thanks for joining me today, man. Appreciate it.
Great to be here.
You were at the game yesterday, the Bills game?
No, I wasn't. I watched it from a bar. It's way cheaper.
Yeah,
way cheaper.
me too. Thank you so much. Speaking of bars, we're at Bill Gray's in Brockport, the tap room here at Bill Gray's, of course, the first of many Bill Gray's that we'll be visiting here on Overtime. And, of course, you know, Bill Gray's, everybody knows, Great Plate Tuesdays tomorrow, $7.99, and, of course, half-price milkshakes every day, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Bill Gray's tap room here in Brockport. Come on out and join us today. We appreciate it. Overtime, of course, on Rock Sports Network, rocksportsnetwork.com. Also, you got a doubleheader for the second straight week. The Ozone Show is going to be joining us, of course, afterward. So, Andre Fontenot's going to have a lot to say, of course, with that big victory over Holy Cross. But you got a bye week, and, of course, you got North Carolina State. But today, of course, we got to start with the 3-1 now Buffalo Bills. The perfect season's over. The dream season is over, and a lot of people said before this game, Icey, they went into this game and they said, you know what, no matter what happens on Sunday, my opinion's not going to change on this team. I think we got everything right where we want it. I was not one of those people. I can't look at a game in a vacuum. What are your feelings after yesterday's loss to the New England Patriots, 16-10 the final at New Era Field?
I mean, this is what I expected. When the predictions last week was exactly that. We lost by 6 points. I had it at 7 points. I said it was going to be a low-scoring game. It was a low-scoring game. These are two of the best defenses in the NFL right now. So it's no surprise that both quarterbacks struggled, both offenses struggled, and it came to a special teams, or I expected defensive, but a special teams play, and it ultimately decided this game. And a couple bad sacks by Josh Allen that took us out of field goal range, which didn't help our special teams. But it came down to special teams that won this game. I'm with those people because looking at our schedule, looking at exactly what we had going on, coming into this game, we lose to the Patriots great. You know, we lose to the defending Super Bowl champs. You expected it. You're looking at a schedule and you're like, yeah, the Bills might not win that game. You know, 3-0 going home, you're like, when they got a little swell, they could win this game. The whole game, you're looking at the score and you're like, they could win this game. And they stuck through this game, and they had a chance to win this game late in the fourth quarter. What more can you ask for as a Bills fan? I mean, you can nitpick little things. I love Josh Allen to be smarter with the football. I would love him to be more accurate with the football. His ball placement, that would be fantastic. But the fact that they can hang Super Bowl champs means they can hang with anybody in the NFL right now.
So you're feeling pretty good after yesterday.
Absolutely.
So right now you had three phases of this game. We mentioned it. You know, you have offense, defense, and special teams. And one of those showed up to play. That was the defense yesterday, holding Tom Brady to 9 points. But that includes the 7 that they gave up on special teams with that block punt. We're going to get to that momentarily. That block punt, of course, set up by Josh Allen and company. Not a very good day by Josh Allen. Now, you expected Tom Brady to outplay Josh Allen. Tom Brady didn't play very well yesterday at all. In fact, it was one of his 5 worst games, statistically speaking, ever. And you didn't need the stats to prove that. You saw that yesterday. He had a horrible, horrible football game. The thing was, Josh Allen played a lot worse yesterday than Tom Brady. 3 more interceptions. He's lost the football again. He even lost it on the touchdown. Thank God he broke the plane to the goal line. And then he got knocked out of the game. I've always looked at him as a cowboy, and last week he said, hey, look, I got to make better decisions with the football. And we believed, I talked to Mark Rubel last week, we said, hey, we think that Brian Dable and Sean McDermott could coach it out of him. It didn't look like he learned anything in the previous week, and he may have some polishing up to do.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this, especially that drive, when he ran, he scrambled for that. Good quarterbacks, they get down. But
he needed the extra yard, so he couldn't slide.
He couldn't slide.
We're talking about when he got knocked out of the game.
He needed the yardage, so he did what ballsy quarterback would do, put his head down, and he got targeted, unfortunately, which was that whole sequence where the targeting helmet-to-helmet hit and a holding offset is beyond me. But that's
the rule. That's the rule. It sucks, but it's the rule.
It's the rule. That's neither here nor there. But he did what he had to do. But unfortunately for him, he just had to get knocked out there.
You watch tape. You watch the All-22. You break down the film every week. Last week against the Bengals, I sat in the rock pile. I was one section in front of Ryan Lasel, whom co-hosts the Huddle Show with you on Tuesdays, tomorrow at 5 and on Rock Sports Network. And I asked Ryan, and I'll ask you, it looked last week as if Josh Allen's locking onto receivers. He's not seeing the middle of the field. He's got one hot read that he knows he's going to go to, and if that guy's not there, oh, crap. Yesterday, it seemed like he was continuing to do that. What did you see in last week's All-22, and are you going to look for that this week when you watch the tape tomorrow?
I mean, honestly, he's been doing that his whole career. And
It's been about 16 games.
Right. He's improved, though, this year. It's vast improvement, getting down and doing what he has to do, finding that first receiver, that first read, going to the second one, scrambling out, getting a third, fourth, fifth guy, and extending plays with his feet. But the whole thing is that if he can't, and this is, you go back to the Senior Bowl, and you look at what he did in the Senior Bowl against the team defense, he was terrible at the Senior Bowl, but he was great at one-on-one locking on. You said it earlier, alluded to it earlier about him playing to their strengths. And his strength is locking down to one guy and taking advantage of one-on-one matchups. That might be scripted. That might be like, well, we're not going to try to get you from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because you're not efficient at doing that.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
So I'm not saying that is what it is. You want your quarterback to be able to get through his reads, but Josh Allen, who was a very raw quarterback prospect coming into the draft process, you knew that he wasn't going to be able to get through those reads right away, and he's showing that he can't do it right now.
Last 2 weeks, you've seen a lot of young quarterbacks, and no one other than Patrick Mahomes has taken the world by storm.
Right.
You've seen Josh Allen. You saw Baker Mayfield. He had a better day yesterday, but they supported him with the run. Kyle Allen was supported with the run in Carolina's victory over Houston yesterday. Gardner Minshew was supported with the run the last couple of weeks with Jacksonville. They're keeping it simple. Baker Mayfield, Rex Ryan criticized him a couple of weeks ago, said he's a one-read quarterback, and it looks like that. So maybe you're onto something when it comes to Josh Allen. In a quarterback league, though, even though the defense is playing ferociously, and they are, there have been years when Jerry Gray and Dick LeBeau had great defenses, and then later on you had Jim Schwartz with a great defense, and it didn't lead to a playoff berth. Now, the AFC is very weak. It's like a couple of years ago. My question is, though, your quarterback is putting you in position to lose, not in position to win. Eventually, your defense is going to need some rescuing. Do you have confidence that Josh Allen's going to be able to step up and overcome his own mistakes? Because right now it seems like he's the reason for the Bills' problems instead of being the reason that they're going on to victory.
Well, don't tell any of the guys in the chat that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm going to get.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Don't tell Ryan that because listen.
Oh, I know. He's public. I'm public enemy number 1 with Ryan this morning. I'm sure.
It is very true that he is literally putting the Bills behind the 8 ball.
Yes.
He's putting the Bills in position where they don't have to be. You're up 17 points, or you're up 14 points, and you do nothing. You disappear for a whole middle of a game from the second quarter to the last drive of the fourth quarter. And now you're the hero because you drive them down and win the game when you should have been blowing them out in the first place.
It's like Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan. I'm going to sell, and then at the very end, I'm going to poke up and win. Or if I'm Ric Flair, I'm going to use some brass knuckles, cheat, and end up getting the belt for a 17th time. This is a situation with Josh Allen where I don't need him to play hero ball. I just need him to play average ball. And maybe next year he can play hero ball. Russell Wilson wasn't asked to be a hero his first couple of years in Seattle, and eventually by his third year he became an NFL quarterback. Now, the read option was all the rage, right place, right time, but he was smart. Allen's a smart kid, but he reminds me of that guy who's like, you have the intervention for him. Listen, Bill, I think you're an alcoholic. You need to go to rehab. You're right. When are you going? Soon. Instead of Tuesday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I need Josh Allen to go, I need to fix this problem today, and here's what I'm doing. Did you see Deshaun Watson yesterday after the loss? He took responsibility. He answered a reporter's question brilliantly, and then after that, he goes back out on the field and starts working on drills with his quarterback's coach to make sure the same problems don't happen again. Now, Josh Allen had a concussion yesterday, and he couldn't really do that, and I'm sure he's working to make those strides, but it seems like the cowboy from Wyoming came back out of him yesterday, and he just threw away everything he'd ever learned and went back to those bad habits, and that's going to be a problem.
Yep, it is going to be a problem, but this goes back to, like, let's say a Tim Tebow. You know, all offseason he was like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shorten my throw mechanics. I'm going to make it nice. Right. I said, you know, it sounds great until you're being chased by a 350-pound guy, and then you're going to go back to exactly what you know. And what you know is that long throw pattern, and it's going to be bad.
E.J. Manuel, I'm going to let it rip.
Yep.
Still waiting.
Still waiting.
Still waiting.
It's hard to make an inaccurate quarterback accurate.
Right.
It's hard to teach guys who, on the fly, especially when you're playing, how to read defenses. It's hard to teach them how to go through your progressions. For some guys, it's just a feeling.
Right.
You know, it's not like, oh, I had to study a lot of tape to do. You either have it or you don't. So I'm not saying that Josh Allen is that. I'm not saying that he can't be better and he can't improve. All I'm saying is he's got to be better. Now, in the beginning of the season, I said that Josh Allen has to be able to get his completion percentage up to about 60%, and this team will be a playoff team. I said if he gets it much higher than 60%, like 62, 65%, I said this team is a serious contender.
It's like bonus escalators at work. If you're a sales guy, hit President's Club. Here we go. Right. Just get those completions, John.
Exactly.
That's all we ask.
Move the ball down the field.
Right.
Let the defense do the rest. You score points when you can score points, but you have to be able to consistently move down the field. If you have a high completion percentage, you're going to move the ball down the field. I don't care who you are.
Right now, I'm okay with him being Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay? Next year, I expect him to be somewhere between Tyrod Taylor and Brett Favre. Right now, he's not even at Tyrod Taylor's level. He's not even at Ryan Fitzpatrick's level. I don't say he's regressed. I'm saying he is what he was. The Bills could very easily be 1-3 or even 0-4. If Daniel Jones had played that football game for the Giants, we might be talking about a different story right now.
Yep.
And it's a lot on Josh Allen. Let's go back to yesterday. In the fourth quarter, the Bills, most people like you and I, were you in favor of them like going for it on fourth down, fourth and goal? Said they didn't kick the field goal. They end up not getting in. Barkley was the quarterback. It was late. I was okay with them going for it. You were down 6 points.
My knee-jerk reaction when I was watching that happen, I said, go for it. And I thought about it, and I said, take the points.
That's fair. Second guess. I second guess myself.
Exactly. Listen, if you're a coach, you have to have confidence that your guys can get 3 yards.
Right.
I mean, you're an offense, in an NFL offense. You guys are getting paid a lot of money.
Right.
You invest a lot of money in that offensive line. You went and signed Gore. You went and get receivers. You invested all this money in the offseason to be able to convert those, right? You have to have faith, and if you do that, guess what? You're winning. You're ahead. You catch that, and you're going. I like the aggressiveness, but there's a lot of things that led up to that point.
And real quick before we go to break, I'm going to tell you, they had to go for it at that point. I thought to stay with the Patriots to prove, hey, we're not going to let you push us around on our own field. We got to get the touchdown. But had Allen not taken that sack before the missed field goal at the end of the half, the 46-yarder, Haskell's got to make that kick, but it took him out of range again. You get the field goal, or you get the ball to start the second half. You score that touchdown. You got a tie game. Now you can actually kick a field goal in that fourth and goal and take the lead. And now Tom Brady, for the first time in a long time, has his ears pinned back because you got it right where you want him. But because of your quarterback sending you back, aside from the turnovers, taking that sack ultimately sets you back in a situation where that butterfly effect may have ultimately changed the game. When we come back, we're going to talk about the rest, what we loved and what we didn't like mostly from yesterday's game. Also, we're going to do a little segment called First Things First. I'm going to throw a topic out at Icey from yesterday in the NFL. He's going to give me his first thought on it, the first thing that comes to mind. We're going to bring back Worst Things Worse and, of course, overtime rules at the end of the show. We're going to be right back. We're live from the Brockport Bill Gray's Tap Room with Icey Vick, co-host of the Huddle Show. He'll be on tomorrow at 5 o'clock with Ryan Lasel commiserating about the Bills right here on Rock Sports Network. This is Overtime with me, Dan Borrello, and Icey Vick on Rock Sports Network.
Bill Gray's Burgers and Fish Fries are Rochester's choice because of this, and this, a lot of these, and mostly that.
Gimme, Bill Gray's. Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Hi, I'm Zach Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. We're family-owned, family-run, 3 generations strong.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
When I sprained my left knee, they did so much to help me at
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
With 20 locations throughout Monroe and Livingston County, pain relief is never more than minutes away. Same-day appointments available. Most insurance accepted. Call 1-888-PT-ROCHS.
Lattimore physical therapy.
Live from the Bill Gray's Tap Room here in Brockport, this is Icey Vick, co-host of the Huddle Show, which you can see tomorrow on Rock Sports Network at 5 o'clock with Ryan Lasel, who is still pretty upset over yesterday. Has anybody checked on Ryan? Is Ryan okay? Does he have a pulse? I'm Dan Borrello. This is Overtime. Thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, this is Bill Gray's live at the Tap Room here in Brockport. Stop in for lunch or dinner. Enjoy a brew and wings. Icey and I are going to enjoy some after this while watching your favorite team on a huge flat screens throughout this big, vast room in this restaurant. $2 Black Blue Light Pints. Mondays and Thursdays, 75% wings on Sundays and Wednesdays. And, of course, North Atlantic haddock fish fries served every day. Not just Wednesdays and Fridays, Catholics, but every day here at the Brockport Bill Gray's Tap Room. Let's talk about the Borrello block, which they're calling it right now, yesterday. That pretty much sealed the game. A lot of people wrote the Bills off at that point. They stuck with it, though, thanks to the defense, which we'll get to momentarily. But yesterday, what did you see on that punt? Did you see the same thing that I saw with the Gunners and everything else? Like the Patriots had clearly read the film and saw the film on this punt team, and their special teams has some problems right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mistake that you can't make, right? You know, all the guys,
left-footed punter,
right? They all come in, they load in, and your Gunners are just standing outside. You don't come in, you don't try to chip them, nothing. You just let them come in unimpeded for a block. It's just.
Two dudes coming after Milano. There's only so much he could do. They didn't call they didn't bring the Gunners back. So in other words, Borrello was like, so just going to try to punt and hope for the best. Going to get the punt off, and it also makes it sound like, well, he was a Patriot. Maybe he can't throw. Bill Belichick knows this, so hey, we're sending everybody. Yep. Patriots said they saw something on film last week. Cover One did a great job breaking down an almost punt by the Bengals, and also 2 weeks ago against the Giants, what they did to avoid a blocked punt. They didn't do that yesterday, and it cost them.
It cost them. It cost them big. I mean, that ended up being what decided the game. That one huge mishap.
We got a lot of issues on special teams. That was the biggest, of course. You got Hauschka missing field goals. You also have, like, holding on punt returns. Andre Roberts, the guy's doing his best, but he can only do so much.
Yeah.
And it's almost like in the NFL you expect, I think Nate Geary or somebody's tweeted out yesterday from WGR, he goes, hey, if you don't get a penalty or a hold on a return, how about we give you 5 additional yards as a bonus? Because it seems like that's always the case. But special teams did play a part in yesterday's loss. And Jimmy Johnson, when he was with the Cowboys, used to start every practice with special teams, whereas John Gruden never cared about special teams ever. So, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But, of course, Belichick and the Patriots, the guy's a genius for a reason.
Yeah.
And they saw something yesterday, and it worked out or worked against the Bills. Meanwhile, the defense. Let's talk some good stuff about this team. How about this defense yesterday? Everybody's talking about the Patriots defense winning with Tom Brady having a bad game. How about the Bills defense keeping them in the game?
Keeping them in the game with a myriad of turnovers. I mean, Josh Allen had one of the worst games I've seen him play. Overall, start to finish, he was inaccurate, area code accuracy, missing guys open. I mean, just throwing in the dirt, overthrowing guys by 10 yards, and then making bad decisions with the ball, trying to force into double coverage off of his back foot 40 yards down the field.
Right.
I mean, those are just boneheaded mistakes that most quarterbacks don't make. I mean, this is Nate Peterman kind of stuff we're talking about here. And, with all that said and done, Tom Brady and the Patriots, one of the best offenses in the league, one of the best teams in the league. I mean, obviously, he was the number 1 team in the power rankings coming into this game. And the Bills, literally, that defense held them down to 9 points. What really interests me is that they brought a lot of pressure on Brady.
Yes.
And they really brought it.
I didn't expect that.
I mean, exactly, and that's the whole thing.
Because usually the ball's out of his hands in 3 seconds or less.
But these guys understand, like, the secondary is amazing. And it doesn't matter who's up and someone goes down, the next guy up comes and plays great. They're geniuses coaching that secondary. And in my opinion, they're letting these guys do their job, and they're sending extra guys to get to Tom Brady. And that's something you don't see a lot of teams do.
No.
And it blows my mind because in the 2 Super Bowls they lost to the Giants, they got after Tom Brady.
Right.
And
play the regular defense, just go after him.
Just go get him. One of the things that I heard in the broadcast is there was a statement that teams that are successful against Tom Brady are successful when they get pressure with 4 guys rushing. If you're getting pressure with 4 guys rushing, you're going to be good against anybody. Right. I mean, that's just the dumbest statement.
Like the 0-3 Carolina Panthers. We don't have to blitz Brady. We can just set our front 4.
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
They almost won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Listen, when you can't get to the like that, our front 4 aren't just top-notch teams. It's not like 4 years ago when we had 4 guys that can just get after a quarterback all the time.
You got a
And that's
rotation here.
Right, you got a rotation here. But when you send your linebackers and you send a couple of guys on the corner, you send your safety on the blitz, and you get after Tom Brady, he got flustered.
Yes.
He doesn't like being hit.
No.
He likes a clean pocket. If you collapse that pocket, which they did consistently yesterday, he gets uncomfortable, and he gets squirmish, and he throws the ball away.
Right.
And how many you got called for 1 intentional grounding? It could have been 3.
Yes.
But
very easily could have been 3.
Easily throwing it away because he does not want to get hit. He doesn't want to have to take those shots that
TB12 can't cure that.
No, can't. So it was the defense played top notch and
3-1. But yesterday, the telltale sign for me with this defense was Micah Hyde's interception. I'm going to tell you why. It came off the heels of the 4th down where Trey White got called for pass interference, and it set the Patriots up at a 1st and goal, and Micah Hyde comes up with this huge grab out of nowhere. He fools Brady, which is not easy to do. He's the greatest quarterback ever, and that showed me something. They're resolved. This defense has a resolve this year, and they're finishing. The question is, though, can the offense answer? Because eventually the defense is going to need to be rescued at some point this season. They're not going to be able to play like this every week.
No.
That's where Josh Allen's got to step up and play quarterback.
This is defense is kind of like 2 years ago with the Tyrod Taylor-led offense. The defense was just forcing a lot of turnovers. They played out of their mind. And we were winning games, and I said, you know what, the other shoe's going to drop eventually because the defense cannot play at this high of a level all the time.
Not every week.
They're not perfect. They're just human beings, just like every other. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. You're going to have a bad game.
They're not like you, Icey. Undefeated.
Undefeated. But, yeah, I mean, it's insane to expect them to play like this every game. Eventually, the offense is going to have to help out in places. If your team holds a team under 20 points, you expect to win that game. If they hold them to 15 points, you definitely expect to hold that game. They held the Patriots to 16 points yesterday with the special teams error.
Right, yes.
You have to expect to win that game, but the offense did absolutely nothing to help them. They ran the ball well, but then their combination with the running and then the inaccurate passes and just blatant, disrespect that they had for Josh Allen, like loading 18 in the box and saying, hey, beat us with your arm.
Right.
They just could not move the ball. And that's literally what they did. They loaded the box. They said, beat us with your arm, and Josh Allen just couldn't do it.
They made Josh Allen be a quarterback. That's a scary thought, especially when we talk about the Patriots. They're the measuring stick team. And, the Bills hung with them for 4 quarters, and the defense played well. But if your quarterback had showed up and actually made just a few plays, the Bills would have won that game. And that, to me, is a concern. I've looked at this team as a 500 team. My opinion didn't change yesterday one way or another. I don't think Allen regressed. I think he is what he is. He's made strides this year, but he still has a lot of strides to take, and I think he needs to take them this year. I'm going to bring up some names I see about Josh Allen, and I'm going to make some comparisons here. Let's start with Cam Newton. A lot of people compare him to Cam Newton, the size, the arm, and the ability to move around, but I never remember watching Cam Newton have games the way Allen's had this year. He's had 2 rough games, the Jets game and the Patriots game, and the Bengals game wasn't exactly a good game either.
No.
Do you remember in the first 16 games of Cam Newton's career having sloppy games like that, games where he was just awful?
When they said Cam Newton, I heard the comparisons earlier this season. I heard them last season.
Because of the size and the ability.
The size, ability, blah, 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 blah. Cam Newton came out his first 2 career games and threw 400 yards. Josh Allen hasn't cracked 300 yet.
Hasn't thrown 3 yet.
Yeah. So we're stop the comparisons. Athletic ability-wise, maybe somewhat similar. Same size. Cam Newton's bigger. As far as just like sheer weight and just size. Athletic ability probably it was similar. Maybe not as quick as Cam, but straight line speed probably similar. But that's where comparisons end. Not saying that Cam Newton is some sort of very accurate quarterback by any stretch of imagination. But he's more accurate than Josh Allen.
He is. And he also is a former NFL MVP.
Yeah.
And he also ran out and took a lot of chances with the football and takes a lot of hits, which which we've seen Allen do. The thing is, usually Cam would take care of the football, and Allen hasn't done that. I'm going to throw another quarterback at you. Both of these guys were drafted in the first round. Both of these guys were booed when they were drafted by their hometowns. And one of them is 2-0 right now, and that is Daniel Jones. Let me ask you. He's already had 1 300 game under his belt. All of a sudden, Giants fans are all of a sudden rethinking the entire season, like they've had a new lease on life. They've forgotten about Odell Beckham Jr. now. Do you wish that Daniel Jones was your quarterback instead of Josh Allen at this point? Is it too soon to say that?
No, I don't think it's too soon to say that. Daniel Jones looks far more accurate.
Yes.
Far more accurate.
And coachable.
Well, the whole thing is quarterbacks like Josh Allen, they've got by so long on athletic ability alone. Well, you're in the NFL now, and athletic ability alone ain't going to do anything for you. So you have to be able to be better throwing the ball. You're a quarterback. You have to throw the ball. You can't just run it every time. You can't. When it breaks down, you can't run out of the pocket every time. That's not going to be available to you all the time. You have Lamar Jackson, drafted in the same draft, has shown huge leaps as a quarterback.
Yes.
Not just an athlete, but as a quarterback. And I'm not seeing the same. He had a couple rough games, but not as bad. Like, it's not abysmal like Josh Allen abysmal.
No.
You got to make a leap. And I'm not just talking about, like, just
yesterday was a tough game, but it wasn't a Josh Allen game.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh my gosh, we used the term a Josh Allen game.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of another quarterback, Nathan Peterman. We talked about Nathan Peterman game. The difference is Peterman was a 5th rounder. Josh was the 7th overall pick.
Yep.
And
they traded up a lot.
Yes, they gave up a lot to get him.
Yeah, all right.
The thing is, Allen, the thing about Peterman was he made okay decisions. He just didn't have the arm strength to get the ball there.
Yeah.
And he got picked off. Allen has the arm strength. He's making bad decisions. And I'm not saying that he's Nathan Peterman, but people are bringing Nathan Peterman's name up for a reason, I see. That's not good.
I mean, we compare he's the last quarterback. I guess you can go with that. But, you can't turn the ball over. You can't be a turnover machine. That's that's what Josh Allen is right now. He's turning the ball over at an alarming rate. And you can't do that in the NFL. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that in the NFL. The fact that they had 4 total turnovers that game and were only down by 6 is a miracle. That they were in the game the whole game with that many turnovers against the Patriots with Tom Brady. It's a miracle that this game wasn't a 40-point game.
And we both said it would be a one-possession game, and it was. Now, going into the Tennessee game, to me, it was like, okay, to me, the game that you had to answer for is the Tennessee game. I knew they were going to lose this game. You did. Most of us did. Now, but the Tennessee game is the one you got to respond to. You just saw the Titans beat the snot out of Atlanta on the road yesterday, 10 days after Marcus Mariota was pretty much thrown to the wind by a lot of pundits and called a bust. Now, is this a must-win, Game 5 of the season? And is it important for them to win this game to show that this team really has something to work with and isn't intimidated by the Patriots, that this is a one-off and they're resilient and they can go out and be the team that people want them to be this year?
I mean, every game is a must-win game, especially for the Buffalo Bills. They're in a tough division. They're going in with the Patriots. If you want to win your division, you got to win a lot of games. Because I think the Patriots won 11 games every year since 2001. Something similar to that. It's insane. Even the season when Tom Brady was gone for the whole season back in 2007, they still won 11 games with Matt Castle as a quarterback.
Right.
You have to win games to win in this division. If you want home field advantage, you got to win these games.
Right.
Like, you could lose to the Patriots, but if you win all these other games against the Titans, against the Dolphins, you got to take business. You lose the 2 games of Patriots and you take care of everybody else, you're saying good. And, hey, Cowboys, they look beatable after last night. So
it's a one-possession league right now. It's a one-possession league.
You got to take care of business. It's a must-win game, and the Tennessee Titans aren't that good.
When we come back, I'm going to ask Icey what I think is the most important question about Josh Allen. I think it's a good one. And we're also going to play First Things First and also Worst Things Worst. That's coming up next. It's Icey Vick here with me, Dan Borrello, the Overtime Show, part of Rock Sports Network here at Bill Gray's Tap Room in Brockport. We'll be right back right here on Rock Sports Network, rocksportsnetwork.com.
Only $7.99 for a Bill Gray's Great Plate every Tuesday.
Announcing the 2019 final closeout at Bob Johnson. Lease a brand new Chevy Equinox for just $218 a month. That's $218 a month for a brand new Equinox. Come to Bob Johnson Chevrolet.
Daddy had surgery and his pain was put to ease.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Hi, I'm Steve Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. Our best values are available right now at Ralph Honda.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
Welcome back. It's the Overtime Show. Overtime with Dan Borrello. Icey Vick from the Huddle's joining us. You can watch them tomorrow at 5 o'clock right here on Rock Sports Network on Facebook. We're here at the Bill Gray's Tap Room in Brockport. This segment brought to you by Lattimore Physical Therapy, offering 25 clinics throughout Rochester, including area locations in Spencerport and North Chi-Li. More than 50 certified physical therapists have experience in treating most conditions and sports injuries, and in most cases are able to offer initial consultations within 24 hours at your convenience. LattimorePT.com. We had somebody ask us, Zay Jones, do you think it's time for Zay Jones to take a seat? That's not the big question I'm going to ask Icey Vick here. Zay Jones had a rough game yesterday for many reasons, and if you're watching this show and you understand what we're talking about, we can gloss over all that. Is it time to put Zay Jones on the shelf and perhaps bring up a certain someone from the practice squad who could go up and get those big balls? Somebody from the CFL, if you might remember, Mr. Duke Williams?
I mean, yes and no, I guess. Well, there's no right or wrong answer to that. Zay Jones has been getting behind defenses, and Josh Allen's missed them. There was times where he's running behind towards the end zone, and he's open, and he gets overthrown, or he throws out of bounds, or he throws the touchdown pass that he could have caught in the last game. He threw into the ground where Zay Jones just couldn't get
the ball.
I mean, yes, Zay Jones is not impressive. He's not impressing me. He didn't impress me when we drafted him.
They traded up to get him.
And when they drafted Zay Jones, I said, why? He's a possession receiver. He's not overly athletic. He had great sheer numbers coming out of college, but his tape never impressed me. So now that he's not really doing anything in the NFL against NFL caliber defenses every week, it's like this is kind of what I expected. But in the same sense, when he does get behind defenses, you got to get him the ball, and you're not getting him the ball. Now, he had a drop, but the ball was grossly high. It was a tough catch. He could have came down with it, but this is not Odell Beckham. We're not asking him to be. You bring that ball right here, and it's a touchdown, right? So you can't put it all on his shoulders, but in the same sense, a lot of it, your quarterbacks get paid a lot of money to throw the ball and throw the ball accurately. And my biggest problem with Josh Allen as a quarterback is his ball placement, which is just abysmal. It's terrible.
The other thing with Zay Jones, though, is like the interception. A lot of people thought he could have fought harder to get the ball. They believe the officials may have screwed up, which is another issue for another time. I think Zay Jones, people were, but you brought up a great point about him getting behind defenses, which nobody else has brought up yet. Even these so-called film buffs, they're not talking about him getting behind defenses. And, you're the first person I've heard say that. I don't get to watch film. I don't have the all-22. But that's an important point that I don't think many people are bringing up. In fact, you're the first person I've heard say that. He's getting behind defenses, just Josh Allen's either not seeing him, not finding him, or not getting him the ball.
Well, he's getting the ball. If you go back to that interception where he didn't fight, that's the excuse everyone's supposed to make to blame Zay Jones. Zay Jones had steps on him. If Josh Allen throws that ball a half a second earlier,
where it's supposed to be,
and get the ball out and get it there, he's catching the ball on the sideline for a big gain. But Josh Allen waited, then tried to throw off his back foot and threw it short. What more can you do? He grabbed at the ball. The defender bobbled the ball, but just gathered it as he was going out of bounds. So yes, he could have tried harder or whatever, but you can't put the blame on the receiver after the quarterback made a terrible throw in the double coverage short off of his back foot and pressure, and he threw the ball late. That's on the quarterback. I'm not faulting Zay Jones for that.
Icey Vick sticking up for Zay Jones, bringing up a great point about where the ball should be on the quarterback, which we've killed the quarterback quite a bit today. So I'm going to ask you this question. Yesterday, of course, Josh Allen went down with a head injury. He's in concussion protocol as of right now. Matt Barkley's going to prep to be the starter in case. And look, that's just natural. That doesn't mean that Josh is not going to play. All it means is as of today, Monday, it sounds like Josh Allen's still in concussion protocol, which means next man up, which would be Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley proved yesterday why he's a backup quarterback. When Josh went down, though, when Allen went down, did part of you was like, well, they weren't going to take him out. Let's give this kid a shot and see what happens. Because the way Allen was playing, they weren't going to win that football game even if he was, ready to play. If he was able to come out of it. He just did not have a good football game yesterday. So I'm going to ask this question. Is it more important for the Bills to make the playoffs no matter what? Or is it more important for Josh Allen to get as many reps on the field as possible and develop as an NFL quarterback going into 2020?
The most important thing is to develop as a quarterback. Because
Thank you. I agree completely.
You go to the playoffs and sacrifice his development, you're just going to be the Cincinnati Bengals.
You're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. Cincinnati Bengals, you can make the playoffs, but you're not going to win anything. And the whole purpose is what is a Super Bowl or bust, right?
Yes.
The whole purpose of getting to the playoffs is to win a Super Bowl. The whole purpose of winning games is to get to the Super Bowl. This defense is a great defense, and this is a good enough defense where you could just have an average quarterback, and go deep into the playoffs because the defense is that good. If you can get him to develop and become an average or better quarterback, this is going to be a very dangerous team. And this is only his second year.
Right.
It'll be a very dangerous team for a long time. Most of our defenders are younger defenders on the rookie contracts. Some of the guys that we have on veteran salaries are smaller veteran salaries. We can continue with this recipe for a long time.
I agree wholeheartedly.
We have a lot of cap space to work with. We're not like hurting. We're going to lose this guy in a year. We can't sign him. This team is the team that has to look at the long haul.
The only reason I bring this up is because, let's say hypothetically, Matt Barkley starts on Sunday, and the Bills go out and they beat the Titans, and they beat them pretty handily. Now everybody's going to start talking. And to me, it's not about making the playoffs this year. Like you said, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. The playoffs, that's cute. That's nice. We've only been there once in 20 years, and, of course, Bills Mafia will be ecstatic if they make the playoffs. We want to see a playoff team, but not at the. I don't want to see it while sacrificing your quarterback, because in 2020, you need to know, is this his make-or-break year, or do we need to find the next Jim Kelly? Because we've had a lot of guys come through here, false prophets, who couldn't pull that stone or that sword out of the old rock pile. And Josh Allen needs to get all the reps he can. I'm with you. He's got to develop no matter what. Playoffs or no playoffs, I don't care how good the defense is. This season's about Josh Allen's development first and foremost. And if he can finish way better than he started, the future's going to be bright. You won't have to worry about playoffs. They'll be there. But I agree with you completely, so I'm glad you said that. It's time now for what we like to call first things first. I'm going to just read a statement, and Icey's going to tell me, it's not word association, but it's like that. Icey's going to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Let's start out with this. The Cleveland Browns at 2-2 are leading the AFC North. What's the first thing that comes to mind, Icey?
Yawn. I mean, you got the 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals, 0-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Browns
playing tonight.
Browns and Ravens. Neither team are playing great. Who cares? I mean, whoever wins out of this division, you look at this team, and you're not thinking this team's a very dangerous team.
No.
You're not scared of any of these teams.
No.
So, I mean, I think the Ravens have the best chance long term.
They have the best coaching staff right now.
Right.
The 4 teams in the division, without question.
Definitely, and they have a lot of talent on that team, a lot of young talent.
Yes.
They're going to develop into a pretty good team down the road if they continue going on this way. Cleveland Browns has a lot of pure talent, but can they put it all together?
Right.
You got a lot of egos on that team as well. So, but none of these teams scare you. Baker Mayfield has clearly regressed this year, and I don't know if it's so much regress, but you always hear the sophomore slump. No, sophomore slump. And the whole thing is, all these defensive coordinators have a full season of tape to watch you now. And they're picking apart what you do well, during the season, they're prepping for games, right? They're prepping for the games ahead of them. They don't have time to watch every quarterback's film and break down the film. Like the Patriots, Bill Belichick obviously had time to watch Josh Allen's development. They put together a game plan on how to dismantle him, and they did. That's what the NFL is doing to Baker Mayfield right now. They're dismantling him because he showed what he had last year. He's obviously going to pull out some new tricks, and they're just breaking him down.
It wasn't Baker Mayfield's day yesterday. It was Nick Chubb's day, and it was Cleveland's defense that got to the next person I'm going to bring up in first things first, Lamar Jackson. Tough day yesterday for Lamar Jackson.
Tough day, but much improved. Much improved. You see what he's doing with his legs. You see what he's doing with his arm. He's made some really great throws, and he's a second-year quarterback, and he didn't play a whole heck of a lot last year. So you're looking at what he did and where he was last year and to where he is this year. The sky's the limit for that kid if he can continue improving incrementally, because we all thought he was just going to be an athlete at a quarterback. He's just going to be a running back in a quarterback's body. But now that he's shown, even against bad competition, to be able to make prime-time throws, which Josh Allen hasn't done this year, by the way.
Right.
That you have to respect it. You can't just focus on the running game. You have to respect Marquise Brown going deep.
Cleveland did hit him in the mouth yesterday, the way the Bills hit Tom Brady, Freudian slip there. They did hit him in the mouth yesterday. Let's see how Lamar Jackson responds. First things first, the Detroit Lions.
Lost a lot of people, a lot of money. Who expected? I thought that was a slam dunk runaway game.
You really did?
I did. I really did.
The Chiefs, really?
Yes, the Chiefs. I thought they were just going to outscore them. Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs, they don't have to beat you with their defense. They're not an overly great defensive team.
They're like the Golden State Warriors of football.
They're just going to put up a lot of points, and you're going to have to try to keep up. And I said 8 points. I think the spread was 8 points at the end of the going into the game. 8 points. They should beat them by about 10, 14 points. They shouldn't. Honestly, I didn't even think it was going to be that close. So when they did, and they came out, and they lost me a lot of money. I know they lost a lot of other people a lot of money too. Good on them for keeping it close. It was very surprising for me. Not a huge fan of Matt Stafford.
And before we go to break, first things first. Super Bowl 54. Who do you still have? We're a month into the season. Who do you have in the Super Bowl?
Ooh,
I want to try to track this to see how our opinions change throughout the season.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna say Dallas and the Patriots.
That's what I said, Icey. Man, we're on the same page. Maybe we should do a show together. I don't know. What do you think? When we come back, we'll do Worst Things Worst, where I give Icey 2 scenarios, and he tells me which one is worse than the other. And, of course, last week we brought this in overtime rules. Every week we add new rules to the overtime show. It's overtime. I'm Dan Borrello, special guest this week, co-host Icey Vick from the Huddle Show. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, don't forget, right after this show at 8, the Ozone Show will be taking place. Syracuse, big win over Holy Cross on Saturday. They have a bye. They got NC State coming up. They're going to talk all about that coming up at 8 o'clock right here on Rock Sports Network. We'll be right back from the Bill Gray's Tap Room here in Brockport. It's the Rock Sports Network.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food, we did that too. A separate place to smoke and play, we even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Bill Gray's Burgers and Fish Fries are Rochester's choice because of this, and this, a lot of these, and mostly that.
Gimme Bill Gray's.
Hi, I'm Steve Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. Our best values are available right now at Ralph Honda.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
When I sprained my left knee, they did so much to help me at
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
With 20 locations throughout Monroe and Livingston County, pain relief is never more than minutes away. Same-day appointments available. Most insurance accepted. Call 1-888-PT-ROCHS.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
You're watching Overtime live from the Tap Room at Bill Gray's in Brockport. It's my co-host this week, Icey Vick, who's done a phenomenal job. Brought up some interesting points about Zay Jones. If you missed it, go back and rewatch the show. We're talking right here, talking Bills football. This is brought to you by Bob Johnson Chevrolet. Bob Johnson's goal is to give you the best deal on the best new or used vehicle. If you're not sure what you're looking for in a new truck, car, SUV, stop by and talk to their expert sales team. They'll help you figure out which model fits your needs and requirements best. Bob Johnson Chevrolet, Ridge Road in Greece. It's time for Worst Things Worse. Icey, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. You tell me which is the worst of the 2. So let's start out with this. Worst things worst. Jay Gruden's job security or Dan Quinn's job security? One coach is Washington, the other coach is Atlanta. Who's in more trouble right now?
Oh, man, you're going to go with Washington. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Jay Gruden's in trouble.
Gruden's in trouble. That division right now looks, not bad, not strong, but they're in the middle, and they're just in the bottom of the basement. You know, you're 0-4. Giants are 2-2. Daniel Jones looks really good. And his, first start was great. The second start wasn't as good, but he looks good for a rookie, especially when we thought we were going to be at this point in his career. The Eagles are still winning some games, and then the Dallas Cowboys, even though they took a kind of a bad loss last night, they're still in 3-1. They still look like a really good team, and they're putting up points. Dak Prescott looks great. He's got a good rapport with his wide receivers right now, so it looks like them. The other way, the division's not very good. Quinn's division's not very good. This division's obviously running away with it. So you have to say that Gruden's job security is thin ice, very thin ice.
Dwayne Haskins already has a nickname, one NFL game in, Haskins Robbins. Not good. 3 picks yesterday in his first start. A lot of people thought the Giants should have taken him over Daniel Jones. Well, right now one team's doing well, and the other team has a coach on the hot seat. As far as Dan Quinn's concerned, this is Bill Belichick. It's like Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll had a baby. They're old, and that's got a lot to do with the front office. Things aren't good in Atlanta either. Worst things worse, the Vikings with Kirk Cousins or the Colts without Andrew Luck? Colts taking out on the chin of the Raiders of all teams yesterday. The Vikings losing in Chicago to a backup quarterback. Kirk Cousins awful. Who's worse off right now?
The Vikings.
Yes.
They paid a ton of money.
$30 million a year plus tips.
Yeah, it's a Kirk Cousins, and he's just not been the guy. Everyone thought he was going to come out. He played very well in Washington, but they had a system. They just allowed him to go out there and throw the ball around. And this is not what they're doing. They're asking him to be a little bit more clear, concise with the ball, get the ball out there. You got two great receivers that he just can't get the ball to. He's not the quarterback who everyone thought he was. He's a quarterback some of us thought he was, but he's not the quarterback the Vikings thought he was. You're doing well as the Colts, and you got Jacoby Brissett, and even though Jacoby Brissett is he's not a world beater, and he's not the best quarterback in the world. I mean, he was I believe, a second-round pick by the Patriots initially.
Yes.
But you're still 2-2 with Jacoby Brissett. You're tied with Houston in the AFC South, so you're still in the hunt. You're definitely way worse off.
That division's up in the air right now.
Yeah, it's up in the air.
Vikings
Everyone's 2-2 in that division right now. Yeah, but the Vikings, it's not looking good for the Vikings.
There was one smart decision Washington made, and that was letting Kirk Cousins walk. He's been atrocious.
Yes.
I wish the Jets had signed him instead of drafting Sam Darnold. Maybe everything would be different. Worst things worst. The Dolphins getting killed. I'm sorry, the Dolphins trying to tank or the Broncos actually trying to win. Both teams are 0-4 right now, Icey. Which one's worse off? Worst things worst.
This is Dolphins.
Yes.
It's the Dolphins.
No, I'm going to go with the Broncos, but go ahead.
The team is abysmal. You don't have any talent over there. But listen, you're a bad team. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have an offensive line. You don't have a defense.
Your pets' heads are falling off.
I mean, you have nothing to build around. You can get all the first-round picks you want, but if you're not hitting on those first-round picks, you're not going to do anything.
They're
so
just empty draft
you're going
picks.
to be bad for many years. And even if you get a franchise quarterback, you're going to get him killed with that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get him killed with no running back ability behind him. I mean, Drake has been abysmal, and Kalen Ballage has been just absolutely terrible. So what do you have to build around that team? I think it's just going to be a longer progression. They're on the other side, they're a quarterback away from being
Denver.
relevant.
They just can't find that guy. Maybe it'll be Jake Fromm. At least right now, they have a plan in Miami. It doesn't seem like John Elway has one outside his quarterback. He had Peyton Manning. That was his plan for the longest time. He did build the defense. Bradley Chubb done for the season. Not good for Denver. Worst things worse. One more, and then we'll get to overtime rules, I'll call it. Worst things worse. Alfred State getting killed by 7 touchdowns without a single turnover at Brockport, or Josh Allen's 3-interception performance yesterday for the Buffalo Bills. Which one was worse?
Well, Josh Allen's performance, you didn't expect that. I mean, Alfred
State, yeah.
You expected them to get blown out of it. I mean, Brockport's a very good football team.
Yeah.
You know, they were in the playoffs last year. They were a contender nationally ranked last year.
Courage Bowl coming up Saturday at Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at that, and I'm like, I kind of expected this to be a blowout. I was actually talking to alum there, and she just showed up. She's like, I showed up for like the first quarter, and I knew it was going to be a blowout, so I went to the bar. So I could watch the rest of the game on my phone. I knew it was going to be bad. So, that was expected. Josh Allen playing that poorly against the Patriots. I mean, we didn't expect him to play great, but he played terrible, and that wasn't expected him to be that bad.
No, I agree with you on that one. It's time for overtime rules. I throw out a rule that I create, and Icey, or whoever the co-host is, next week it'll be Joe Venero, the Associate Commissioner of the Empire 8, which is like having 2 no-show construction jobs. I'm glad he carved out enough time to come and join us next week. So, new rules. When your team is down by 16 points or 13 points or gives up 3 turnovers, you're not allowed to complain about the officiating being the decisive factor in the game. What are your thoughts on that,
Well,
Icey?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Stop, Bills fans. Stop
it. It was abysmal. You can say whatever you want about the refs, but we shut ourselves. As one woman who went to the game, a Patriots fan, said, the Patriots didn't beat you guys. We didn't beat you guys. You guys beat yourselves. And absolutely, the Bills beat themselves last night.
Overtime rules. Stop calling every Patriots home game in September the biggest game ever. Remember the Rex Ryan game a few years ago? That was the biggest game ever, too. Remember the Lawyer Malloy game? That was the biggest game ever, too. And you know what happened each of those years? Oh, yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. Even in that Tom Brady 4-interception game. You want to call it the most anticipated game of all time, or in the last 20 years? Last 20 years. Aside from the playoff game, we know that. Most anticipated? That's cool. Biggest? No, because now you're saying, well, no, it wasn't as important as we thought. The Bills are 3-1. They're okay. Can't say that anymore. What do you think?
No, I'm cool with that. The biggest game ever. Because if they would have won this game, they would have rioted in Buffalo. They would have been turning over cars. They would have been burning down entire neighborhoods. If they would have won that game, the whole city would have erupted. And you want to talk about taking that momentum into the rest of the season? If they would have beat the Patriots, I would expect them to steamroll every other opponent coming through.
Overtime rules. Look, Bills fans, I love you, but Bills Mafia celebrates jumping through tables, lighting themselves on fire, and even blowing off fireworks in their face. They also celebrate a guy named Pinto Ron, whom I love, getting ketchup before every game. You do not have the right to poo-poo a halftime wedding, and some of you did. It was adorable. It was beautiful. Jim Kelly was there. The Pagulas were there. Kyle Williams was there. And not a lot of you, but some of you decided, what the heck is this? You don't have the right to do that anymore when your fan base is known for jumping through tables, among other things. Am I wrong about that, Icey?
I mean, you're not wrong, but you got to understand the other side.
What is the other side?
The other side of this is we're known for being the most rowdy, the most drunk, and the most crazy fans in the entire world.
You Everybody knows it's a good thing.
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's a good thing. Because, think about it. You go from this organized chaos to something
pure.
Pure.
A Buffalo Bills wedding.
This is not what we do in Buffalo. We're jumping, like you said, jumping through tables, catching on fire, jumping off of freaking RVs, getting plowed in the parking lot. That's what we do.
I disagree. That's why I like the rule. But you know what, though? I appreciate your passion on that. Ryan Lasel, I'm sure, is going to have something to say about that tomorrow. He did not enjoy that halftime wedding ceremony. I loved it. I thought it was great. Overtime rules. Odell Beckham Jr. No, you cannot choke a player on the field, and yes, you should get tossed. But when it comes to Odell Beckham Jr., like Chris Rock said about OJ, I understand. That dude won't stop. He and Humphries were going at it. Finally, Humphries just had enough and started choking him on the field. You can't do that. You should be tossed. But I understand. I don't know if you saw that.
I understand because this is Odell. As talented as he is, Odell is the biggest punk in the NFL, in my opinion. When he targeted, I think it was Davis. Who did he target? He targeted one of the cornerbacks.
It may have been Humphries.
No, it wasn't Humphries.
It was okay.
Panthers back a couple years. Targeted him, just speared him in the head. I lost all respect for him. That's a situation where you could actually hurt or kill somebody, and he did that over being upset. He cries on the sideline. Man, go away.
Stop.
You just play football, make your money, go home, do whatever you want with the money, but just shut up. I'm tired of listening to your face.
Overtime rules. We've got 3 minutes left. Overtime rules. Can we just skip in college football to the Iron Bowl? Auburn's playing great football. Bama's doing what Bama does. Trevor Lawrence, I don't want to say he's regressing. He's still young. People forget that. But I think they expected him to be the greatest college quarterback in the history of the game after last year. Clemson's doing well, but they had a scare. They almost lost to North Carolina. Let's just get to the Iron Bowl. This has been an abysmal college football season, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Terrible. There's been like a handful of good games this year. Just get us to the Iron Bowl. Auburn's good. They're for real this year. And, of course, Alabama's Bama. Just get us to the Iron Bowl, please.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge college football fan because of the disparity between teams that you see a lot of times. It's like the Alfred State game, just a lot of blowouts in college.
Right.
But when you get to those great games, I want to see that all the time. It's one of the things I love in football. Even the bad teams can win any given Sunday. The bad teams are still NFL teams, and they're still NFL talent. These are the best of the best of the best. And let's get to the Iron Bowl, baby.
Right. You a baseball fan at all?
I like a little bit. I dabble.
Finally, overtime rules. Look, we got to get rid of the Manager of the Year award because I have no idea who's managing any of these teams anymore. Is it the GM? I think usually it is. Is it the manager? You can't kill Mickey Callaway with the Mets and then praise Aaron Boone because, frankly, they're taking their orders from guys named Van Wagenen and Cashman. I don't know who's calling the shots. These guys have these binders. They're remote control managers. Frankly, if the GM ever had any guts, he'd put on a uniform and go manage the team himself. And I never thought I'd ever say that. But for crying out loud, I have no idea who's running the clubhouse. Basically, your manager is just sit there to meet with the umpire, argue with the umpire, do the pre- and post-game show, and smile and look good in the dugout like Jimmy Dugan in a league of their own. They're not managing anymore. They're getting their cues from the pitching coach and from upstairs. I don't know who to blame. So right now, since we don't know, make the GM the manager or shut the heck up.
I agree with you. I see this award as equivalent as a Pro Bowl in football.
Right.
It means nothing. I mean, you made the Pro Bowl, fantastic job. I mean, it really doesn't mean anything in today's NFL. The Manager of the Year award means nothing in baseball. I'm with you.
Outstanding. So for Icey Vick, who's with the Huddle Show tomorrow at 5 o'clock, it's going to be right here on Rock Sports Network. Ryan Lasel and Icey breaking down. They're going to have more to talk about with the Bills yesterday. Maybe we'll get some word on whether Josh Allen will be ready to play on Sunday against Tennessee. And what I think is a must-win game. Icey thinks every game is a must-win game, and that's fair, too. We're also got the Ozone Show coming up next. Lots to talk about. Big win over Holy Cross this weekend. Got 2 weeks to get ready for North Carolina State. Of course, we're here at Bill Gray's Tap Room here in Brockport, where you can enjoy your favorite game with a family. All 7 taproom locations have NFL Sunday tickets. You can watch your favorite team and enjoy great food and drink specials. And, of course, free kitty cones on Tuesdays with the purchase of a kid's meal. That's going to do it here for Overtime. I'm Dan Borrello. Joe Venero, the assistant commissioner of the Empire 8 Conference, is going to be joining me next week, so I don't have to give out his whole phone number. He will join us. For Icey Vick, for Gary the Godfather Sadak here, for the Ozone, which is coming up next year at Bill Gray's Taproom in Brockport. I'm Dan Borrello. This is Overtime. Remember, it's just a game. Enjoy the sport. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a ride. Enjoy the ride. God bless you. Thank you very much. God willing, we'll see you next week right here on Rock Sports Network, rocksportsnetwork.com.
Jump through tables. Don't be afraid to light yourself on fire.
Or get married at halftime.